review by me, Tubby Engineer. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Viggo rebuildable dripping atomizer. As you can see, the one here I've got is stainless steel and brass. Now it comes in stainless steel and brass, or stainless steel and copper. The main body is 304 stainless steel. It's a tri-post rebuildable dripping atomizer. This is the Viggo RDA. As you can see, I have the stainless steel and brass version. Now, inside it is a fairly standard layout. You've got the usual deck, airflow control ring, top cap and inner ring. Now we'll put the other pieces to one side for a moment and concentrate on the deck for a second. It has a copper 510 pin, which, as far as I'm aware, isn't adjustable, but does stick a good way out of the body of the 510 connector. As you can see, fairly standard 3-post design with juice wells and a couple of O-rings around the outside. Now, I'll point out that these O-rings really could do with being maybe a little thicker, because the top cap is ever so slightly loose. Now, while I've got it in this position, you'll notice that I've got a couple of coils in it. Frankly, I really can't be bothered breaking down what is actually a rather nice build at the minute. They really seem to be working quite well. But if you can see the post holes there, post holes are a good size. You can get a reasonable thickness of canthal through them. Now this is 0.3 canthal I've got in here, but I had a couple of vaping donuts in it a few days back, and you can get 2 vaping donut leads through, and they're about 0.5 mil, so 0.5 canthal. So for the more serious cloud chaser, this is probably a reasonable atty. You can see the juice well is quite deep, and the posts there, the outer ones are right at the edge, but they do clear the cap reasonably well. Allen key screws, and contrary to what some other people have said, I haven't had any problems with the post screws cutting through leads. It could be that some of them are cutting through leads. If that's a problem, pop the screws out and gently sand the bottom of them. That will get rid of any burrs that would normally cut through leads. So this is the inner ring. You can see it's got 3 holes in it, so you can run this in single or dual coil configuration. Got the airflow ring here with the Viggo or Vape Jam logo on the outside. I'll just set this on the top, and then you've got a screw on top cap, very similar to the Trident and any number of other rebuildables with caps of this design. When you screw that top ring down, it does lock this airflow ring in place really quite well. Loosen it a touch and the airflow ring will move pretty easily. Now this is actually a bit juiced up at the minute, it's a bit covered in juice because I've just ripped out the old build to re-wick. I've ripped out the old wick to put fresh wick in it for the purposes of this video actually. Right, I shall just get a bit of cotton wool and we'll wick this thing up. Now, I've heard many things said about which cotton wool you should use, how much you should use, blah blah blah. The only thing I can say is you'll get used to it. This is how I do it. It's actually a bit too much. There we go. That's better. If you can pull a reasonable amount of cotton into the atty, then you've probably got it right. If you've picked too much cotton off, you'll have difficulty pulling it through. So just pull it out and start again. Might be a touch tight, but never mind. Right. So if I trim that off there, that off there, that off about there. Pluck the scraps of cotton away, and now just tuck this stuff in. If you find you've left a bit of cotton short at the side here, you can always add a little fragment extra. You literally just tuck it into place. After all, it is just a matter of contact. It doesn't have to be a single continuous piece, they just have to be in contact with each other. And if I took that bit in there like that, wasn't so bad. A little more cotton there. go. I always make sure that I've left a gap underneath the coil there and there, and a gap round the back. I want air to get all the way round the coil. Okay, so that's the setup built. I'll go ahead, put some juice in it and give it a vape. If you can hear a dog barking in the background, you'll have to excuse me. It's extremely warm in here and I've had to open the window. The lights and what have you are making it pretty warm. Now, I bought this particular atomizer from Midlands Vaping. I will put their website address up in the corner, and I will put up a splash screen, a data screen with the details for this. Now, I also used this atomizer in the Vaping Donuts review that I did previously. I wasn't terribly impressed with the Vaping Donuts. Now, some people asked me whether they thought it was because it was the Vaping Donuts or whether it was the atomizer. Well, I've currently got a 0.9 ohm dual microcoil build in here, which I'll show you in the close-ups in a minute. And I've just re-wicked it and put in some Morning Glory by Vape Monkey, again from Midlands Vaping. And I've currently got this Vapor Shock set to 15 watts. Now, that cloud is as good as anything I got from the Vaping Donuts. Given that I'm running this at half the power and double the resistance, that means I'm getting it means I was getting a quarter of the vapor production, roughly, on Vaping Donuts that I am from just a bog standard dual microcoil build. It's not a twisted build or a super nano micro triceratops chimney coil. I haven't been doing rip tripper stuff. It's the same microcoil I build for everything, or pretty much the same. Sometimes I vary the number of wraps, but it's 0.3 Canthal round a 2.5mm screwdriver shaft, squeezed, heated and squeezed to give it its shape, and that's it. The major difference here is I'm running two of those to a 0.9 ohm total build. Let me have another vape. I may have put a little too much juice in this. Now, one thing people have said on looking at the pictures is that it's an enormous chamber. Now, I'm going to say it's quite the opposite, actually. From the air holes up is about 3-4mm, something like that. Once you get to the little ring around the top of the atomizer, That is actually the top of the cap. That's the top of the chamber, that little ring. And because you've got your cotton and what have you in the lower half below the air holes, what you've actually got is quite a small chamber. And I find it's giving good flavour. I'm getting better flavour from this build than I was the donuts build. This Morning Glory is just a plain vanilla flavoured juice. I've never tried it before. It's a 80% VG Cloud Chaser mix from Midlands Vape Monkey. And I got it simply because I was going to try those vaping donuts, and I knew I was going to be blowing a lot of clouds. I didn't want a massive nick headache from vaping nick on dual ohm builds wide open. Tell you what, let's pop this atomizer up to 20. Shall we go for 25 watts? Let's go for 25 watts and see what we get. $25 watts. I was watching a review by Todd last night, and he was having great fun blowing some clouds as well. I can't honestly say that I'm going to become a serious cloud chaser like Riguri, but I do have fun. It's fun just blowing huge clouds and watching the telly disappear in what amounts to a London pea soup fog. Some people are very strange. It's a shame I'm one of them. Oh, dear me. Yes. Sorry, I shall stop waffling and get back to the subject in hand. Yeah, I've not had any problems getting this to work on any of the mods I have. It connects to everything. The 510 connection is reasonable length. All the threads seem fine. Threading for the top cap for the adjuster ring is fine. I have found that if you squeeze the adjuster ring a bit too much when you're turning it for adjusting airflow, it will seize up. Now, that's because it's only a fairly thin piece of brass. It's fair enough. If you squeeze the thing, it's not going to turn freely. Just loosen the top cap off and spin it gently with your fingers, and it works fine. Screw the top cap down again, locks it solid, won't move on its own. The top cap is a little loose when you get it juiced up, but nothing too dreadful. I have to say, it's nothing too dreadful. You might want to put a thicker O-ring on the bottom just to create a good seal, if you're one of those people who picks your mod up by the atty all the time. If you're not one of those people, don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. It won't come off of its own accord. You know, you do have to physically remove it. I've got to say, for my mind, it performs at least as well as my Trident V2. Choo choo. Sorry, I'm getting juvenile. yeah, it performs at least as well as my Trident V2, and for the price, which was, I think it was £65, but I'll confirm that, or I will have already put it on the data screen at the beginning. If you have a Viggo mod, get one. You might have to fiddle slightly to get the logos to line up. Now, if you adjust the centre pin or pop an O-ring underneath the ATI so that you can screw it down onto the O-ring, and that will give you a good tight fit onto your mod while allowing you to adjust the position without it wobbling and moving around. Other than that, nothing I can say wrong with it. It's literally, it's only that slight problem with the top cap O-rings, and the fact that the logos on mine actually don't line up with my Viggo. Not a great problem, because I prefer to use my Viggo in 18350 mode, and I've had this on top of the Gaia. Now it looks pretty good on top of the Gaia. Excuse me. Actually, it looks really nice on top of the Gaia. I'm waiting for the airflow ring to tarnish up a little bit to match the tarnished look of the control rings on the Gaia, so that it'll look proper, you know, so that they will match properly and it will look its best then. Well, to recap, Viggo RDA, I'm going to recommend it. If you're in the market for a decent quality rebuildable dripping atomizer, this is a good one. I've been Tubby Engineer, and thank you very much for watching. Bye now.